to. And if anybody has any challenges with themselves being recorded, because that is something I have to say, then you can feel free to drop at this point. All right. All right. There is an IT skill shortage. You hear that, or I heard that all the time, and I thought, yeah, that's just a a buzz thing perpetrated by the IT companies, right? To get more people.
Question.
Yes, please.
Sorry. I am shocked at that as well. Is that in Barbados or?
All right, I'm about to expand on that. So that is actually a worldwide thing, and I thought it was a bunch of nonsense, really, honestly, up until that, just perpetrated by IT companies. Up until this week, this week I met with a client, a partner, IBM partner, that operates in another country in the Caribbean, and they told me they have a serious problem with IT skills and the skill shortage. They said that the problem is that Amazon and Microsoft and Cisco and all the big IT shops and some of the big consulting agencies like Accenture and McKinsey and so on and so forth are now hiring out of the Caribbean because of the skill shortage. And therefore, their staff is being actively headhunted by people who are paying way more than they are. And trying to get them to come over. They don't even have to move from where they are. They can stay where they are. And they're paying them a bucket load of money to do the same thing that they were doing before. The Caribbean is a little unique in that we develop very well-rounded individuals because the IT guy kind of has to do everything. So I find that our Caribbean people are being hunted, like really it's happening. I know a guy who was a CIO here, and now he is like head of the ITU or something like that. And
please remind me what is CIO, please.
Oh, sorry. Chief Information Officer. That's like the CEO of IT essentially,
Gotcha.
for large entities. It's above IT manager. I mean, the CIO will usually have a bunch of IT managers under him, but he is like the head IT person. And he, I know a CIO who left and became, one of the heads in ITU. ITU is, I think it's International Telecommunications Union, and he's a Bajan. So, I mean, that we're being headhunted actively. So there is a skill shortage. I wouldn't have agreed with this before, but I agree with it now. And we're the folks in the Caribbean are being headhunted by folks who are paying these types of salaries. These are average salaries for high-paying IT careers. So if you look through, there's information security engineer. These are US salaries. I broke it down to monthly Bajan. So, the information security engineer makes about $21,000 a month Barbados. That's excluding bonuses and other perks. And the line goes down there to software engineering manager who makes about 27K Barbados. There are other job surveys who will give even higher figures in some cases. But this is kind of a nice average. No, for reference, the Governor General, these are publicly available things on barbadosparliament.com. So I'm not telling you anything that, they'll shoot me for. The Governor General makes about 116K US a year. And the Prime Minister makes about 107K US a year. If you look at these IT jobs, right, theoretically, those persons, the Governor General of Barbados and the Prime Minister of Barbados, well, I guess not Governor General anymore, but they still call it that in the pay emoluments. But the Governor General of Barbados and the Prime Minister of Barbados make less than the average information security officer in the US. Well, let that sink in for a second. Okay, good. Money is not all though. There is a lot more to a job. Some people prefer, there are other things that motivate people where jobs are concerned. However, I'm using this as an indicator to kind of show where people are investing in IT careers or in persons who are joining their organization. So if you look through this list, right, you're going to see some words coming up over and over again. You're going to see information security coming up over and over again. You're going to see developer coming up over and over again, data coming up over and over again. We're going to touch on those three areas and a few others as we walk through the next 6 weeks. So we have a cybersecurity session, we have a development session, and we have a data and AI and analytics session, right? So you can look forward to those. You'll also see the terms manager and architect. And you may wonder, is there a difference between those two? And there is, and I just want to clarify the difference so that people understand. I've sat in a position of, I've never been an IT manager, but I've been an architect on a number of occasions in different job roles. And the architect is the person responsible for seeing all the pieces of this system, all the pieces of whatever. I remember doing a network for a government. We rolled out that network in about, I think it was like 3 to 6 weeks for an entire government, entire country. That was crazy work. And you had to design it. So the architect has to design what goes where, what's going to connect to what, how it's going to work, how will it be secured, how will people access it, when they will have access, all of the different details around how this thing is going to work, and all of the pieces that make that happen, that give you the end result you're looking for. That's the architect. The manager, the IT manager, the CIO, etc., manages all of the persons who are responsible for IT within an organization. That said, in the Caribbean, because our organizations tend to be so small, the IT manager may only have a staff of 2 or 3, and the IT manager may basically be, just the chief IT cook and bottle washer. That happens as well. But usually an architect is really somebody who designs and then helps to implement, whereas the IT manager manages the people and, to a lesser extent, the technology. Okay, any questions before I move off of these job slides? Okay, silence means I can go. You guys following though? This is good info so far, or you guys bored?
Following, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good stuff. All right.
Yes, following.
Excellent. Perfect. All right, so in IT is different to a lot of other job areas. In IT, proven skills is what matters. In IT, people do not care how old you are. There are, people who are, we would say, primary school or early secondary school who have been hired by US government because of the skills they have. Age does not matter. I remember going to I was doing IT for some schools sometimes, and I went to a school in Barbados, and it wasn't like one of the top schools either, as people say top schools. It was, kind of medium level there. There was a young guy there who was, who people would say is challenged. He has some, challenges processing things. But one of his teachers realized that he was a genius when it came to IT. And this guy had connected all of their network. He set up their servers. He had everything running like clockwork. He had done stuff that I had only read about, right? And he was 14 and challenged. IT doesn't care about the age. It doesn't care where you live. I work in Barbados, but I work for IBM. Again, 300,000 people worldwide. Doesn't care where I live. IT doesn't care what color you are. To a large extent. You could be Indian or white or black or no, it doesn't actually care what color you are. It's great like that. Your religion to a large extent doesn't matter once you can get the job done when it needs to be done. Your language doesn't really matter from the perspective of English is the language of IT. You either speak English or you don't. So that's it. English is the language of IT. IT does not have another language really. And how long you've been in IT may not even matter when you're looking at a job, because you could have had, 25 years experience, but based on what you've actually done, I can see that you've had 1 year's experience 25 times. And nobody wants somebody with 1 year's experience. So what really matters in IT is proven skills. Proven skills. You have to have the skill to do it, and you have to prove that you have those skills. So prove by, projects that you have done. So and it doesn't have to be like a huge project. If it's something that you did yourself as something just to prove to yourself that you can get something done. My first job, I built a couple of websites and a few other things, and that was my proven skills. I did it for my own benefit, but that was my proven skills, and I could show that. And the guy who was hiring me said, yeah, you know your stuff, come, let's go. You've proven it to me. Proven skills is what matters. You can also prove your skills by certification and qualifications. And these work a little different in IT to how they work in everything else. And I'm going to go into that in a minute. But before I go there, any questions on my proven skills slide? All right, let's go. All right. Certification and qualifications in IT. This is another way of proving your skills, right? Now, remember I told you guys when I started out, I realized that the network where I was not working, the way I wanted it to, or the way anybody wanted it to really. And I said, well, I'm going to try to fix this. Typically in Barbados and in the Caribbean, what we will do is go and do a course and learn how to do this thing. However, the course that I would have wanted to do costed $10,000. I could not afford $10,000. I still would not want to pick up $10,000 and put it into a course at, years later like this. I couldn't afford it. So how am I going to get the knowledge? And I didn't have, the internet really was not as prolific then as it is now. That was like I said, 20 something years ago. Internet was not as prolific then as it is now. So information wasn't as easy to come by. So what do? As I said, I went and bought a book and I taught myself. So you can learn by courses and you can learn by self-study. The internet is perfect now because everything is available and you can almost find it, all of it for free, which is mind-blowing. You can learn anything you want for basically free. So this is a prime time to be taking advantage of things like that. IT certifications, which are qualifications in IT. You see the letters behind my name, those are certifications. I learned shortly after I left school that unlike CXC, where they only do it at a certain time, they only do the exams at a certain time of the year. So you study preparing for that certain time of year. You can schedule an IT exam whenever you want and do it whenever you're ready, which is amazing. I mean, it's totally amazing. One of the bigger places you can go, it used to be two separate places, Pearson and View, but now they kind of merged, and now this is basically the main place. You go to pearsonview.com, you schedule your exam, you say, all right, I want to take it tomorrow morning or this evening, and you set up and you take it. You go, it used to be
for 6 weeks.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay, sorry, I thought somebody was speaking there. Right, you go, you schedule your exam, you take it, and away you go. Usually those exams are going to cost you money, and not a little bit. IT exams are fairly expensive, so the cheapest are around maybe 150 US, and then they kind of go up from there. The most expensive I have seen is like the $1,200 CISSP US, but the increase in cost is tied to the amount of respect the exam has or the certification has. So CISSP certified certified information security systems professional. It's hard to keep track of all this stuff. But CISSP, and you go anywhere in the world and you tell folks that you are a CISSP, that's instant respect, instant in information security. Like they say, yeah, this boy here is a top shotter, because the exam is very hard, and it's and not a lot of people pass it, right? They even keep track of the number of CISSPs that are in the world. Every CISSP has a number. I have one. I cannot remember what my number is. I think it's 1,000 or something, but every CISSP has a license number. So there's a cost associated with the exam. The exams are usually closed book for IT certification, so you're not allowed to cheat. There's usually a proctor involved, somebody who is going to be watching you. It used to be that you had to go to an exam center and sit down there in a very quiet, enclosed room. They would take everything from you and leave you with just a notepad that they give you and a pencil or what do you call it? A little whiteboard and a little marker, and that's it. That's all they give you, and you work with it from there. It used to be like that, but now, since COVID, or thanks to COVID, now you can schedule and take your exam at home if you want. Obviously there's some catches to that. It's still proctored because they watch you through the camera, but and you have to show them the room you're in. If they hear anything, you must turn on your mic. If they hear anything at all, they can immediately fail you. If they see anyone or anything that indicates that you could be possibly cheating, they can immediately fail you. If you open anything else on your computer other than the exam, they can immediately fail you. So that is how the proctoring works if you're at home. I've done a couple exams at home, and it's been great because you don't even have to go anywhere. It's wonderful. And you could, this morning, if you study something this morning and you want to do an exam this evening, you could book it and take it. And yeah, sit down home and do it. The results are immediate. The exam, therefore, they can't have, like all of these, essays and stuff that you write. You can't do essays and think if the results are going to be immediate. So it's going to be multiple choice. It's going to be choose all that apply. It's going to be one word or one sentence answers, or it's going to be actually programming something. Like they will give you a set of devices, virtual devices, and they'll tell you what the end result is that they want. And then you have to then look at the virtual devices they've given you, log into each one and program each one to create the end result that you want. The pass mark is usually pretty high, at least 70%. I've seen 85% for some. And it's usually very time limited. You will get maybe 45 minutes to 90 minutes to answer somewhere between 45 and sometimes 100 plus questions. It depends. It's usually adaptive as well. So if you are actually getting through really well and you're answering everything correctly, the exam will sometimes be shorter. They'll realize, all right, this body here know what they're talking about. Don't waste time. Get them the cert. And the exam will be shorter than if you are not getting through so well and you're struggling. They give you more questions to give you an opportunity to possibly pass. So that's typically how it goes. Yeah, or possibly fail. Yeah. Well, you're failing already, so what? Whatever. You schedule and pay online. Pearson VUE is the usual place you go. These certifications are usually internationally recognized. So you go anywhere in the world, you say MCSE, CISSP, A+, Network Plus, any of those things, people know what you're talking about. If you look at job offerings in Barbados, I looked at Sunday the other day that had a couple of IT jobs, and those certifications, the names are there, and they're asking for them. There are you're going to discover that there are vendor specific and vendor neutral certifications. I'm going to provide a little explanation of that in a moment. And what I will try to do, and this is what I was telling, what I was saying earlier about if you do your homework, you get certificates. What I'm going to try to do is provide information and point you to places where you can go to get some free certification in each area that we cover. All right. You're going to probably have to do a local online course and then answer the questions at the end. But once you've done that, you have a certificate that you can put on your resume and show that, yeah, I know this stuff. You may not know all about it because the online courses, those types of certs aren't very deep, and I'm going to get into those in a moment. But at least it gives you a good introduction, and you could prove that you have that introduction. Vendor neutral versus vendor specific is worthwhile covering that. But before I go there, any questions on this slide? Am I going
Well,
to?
I had one, sorry, I
Yeah,
had
go
one
ahead.
question.
Mhm.
You mentioned that the costs for the exams can vary between, let's say, 150 to about 1,200 US in the case of the CISSP.
Mhm.
What sort of certification could you do for the 150 US?
Okay.
exam?
Typically, those will be vendor neutral, vendor specific certifications. So certifications by Microsoft in their products, certification by Cisco in their products, Symantec, etc. Those ones usually tend to be vendor specific. The vendor neutral ones tend to be more expensive. So that's usually the distinction. And the amount of respect, as I said.
Sean,
yes, please.
You mentioned the courses or the certification for these specific credentials. They must be done in a certain order, or it depends on the self-taught knowledge you could take the specific exam.
If you wanted to do, like, if you wanted to go to a established place of learning, whether a training center or a university or whatever, they may have a specific order. But if you're teaching yourself, you could do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. That's what I loved about IT certification coming out of the university, where they force you to do this and this and this and this. IT certification, I could do whatever I feel like, whenever I feel like doing it, which is great. And nowadays, I could do it in the middle of the night if I want. If I want to get up at 3 o'clock and do an IT certification, I could do it, which is ridiculous, but yeah, I could. Okay. So IT certifications, as I said, vendor neutral versus vendor specific. So there are IT vendors like Microsoft, who we all know, and like Cisco, who some of us may know, but not many, who sell things and are, have a whole range of products that they sell. They will allow you to get certified in their products, and therefore you can prove to people that you know this product. That's why it's very specific to the one product or a couple of products. That's why, they tend to be a little cheaper. And what they will do is that they will then allow you to add a bunch of certifications together to get a higher level certification. So I have I remember my MCSE. My MCSE is not a single certification. It was like 7 or so exams, and each exam gave me another cert. And when you have all 7 of those, then you're an MCSE. So that's somehow sometimes how the vendors specific folks operate. They tend to be cheaper, but then if you want a big one, you gotta add them up. The vendor neutral tends to cover a broad area. So like it will cover all security or all networking or all hardware. CISSP covers all security. Network Plus covers all networking, and so on and so forth. Examples would include certs by, and you may not know these people, but if you get into IT, you will know them. CompTIA, very big on vendor neutral, but they're very beginner level. So most people starting out in IT will do a CompTIA couple of exams. ISC2, they do the CISSP and CISM and those types of things, all security. The open group focuses on architecture. So architects typically become open group certified. ITIL focuses on IT management and so on and so forth. I know this is a lot to take in. You don't have to learn all of this stuff. That's why it's a mentorship course. As we go through the different areas, I will kind of point out the certs and the qualifications you should kind of be looking for if you want to get into this area. All right. Last slide. Micro credentials. If I'm boring you, we're nearly done, so comfort. Micro credentials, badges. So about 5 or 6 years ago, what happened is folks started bringing out these mini certifications. They're not as big as the full-on certifications. They are not as reputable. They're usually free, and they come with free courses usually. The exams don't need to be scheduled, and they're usually open book exams. They're not proctored as a result, so nobody's watching you. And there's no cheating because it's an open book exam. They usually are timed still, so that's a bit of a challenge. You gotta watch yourself there, but the time limits aren't as stringent. And they give you a nice little badge that you could display on your LinkedIn or on your resume. I don't know how many badges I have, because you complete a course, you do the little quiz at the end, they give you a badge, you move on. But if I were to look at somebody hiring as a hiring manager, if I was hiring folks, and I'm evaluating people, and I see someone who has badges versus somebody who does not, I'm going to give the person with the badges the higher level of respect in my estimation. If I see somebody who has badges in the area I am interested in, then yeah, you really got my attention now, because it shows that you know something about what I want, right? It doesn't show you are the deepest in it, but you know something about what I want, and that's important. They're usually associated with shorter courses. So the online courses for these things, as I said, are usually free. Maybe 2 to 8 hours max is what you have to dedicate, and you come away with your badge. So for each area, this is what I plan to do. For each area that we cover, I'm going to share some micro credentials in each area that you can go after, that will give you a chance to delve deeper into the technology of what I'm talking about and into the management aspects of what I'm talking about, without going too deep. And you do the course and you will get your credential, your badge. If I issue a badge or a certification, nobody cares. You know what? That doesn't gain you anything. But if it's issued by IBM or Microsoft or Cisco or any of those vendors, or if it's issued by CompTIA or ISC, then everybody's going to pay attention. So I'm not going to sell you short. Let me not issue any certificates. Nobody cares about Sean Archer's certificate. Everybody would care about a certificate from a reputable vendor, right? Or from a vendor neutral entity. So that's my plan for these courses. At the end, as part of the homework, I'll give you the list. You go through choosing a badge or two that you want to do, dedicate a couple of hours during the week, and there you go. There's your certificate. And you could accumulate as many of those as you want, whatever floats your boat. All right, any questions?
Yeah, Sean, this question may be a little ahead.
Oh.
In the IT arena, since you deal with security and managing different high tech and stuff like that, are there any yearly courses to check your skill sets to make sure you're still on top of the game?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't say this. I should have said it. So these certifications that I talk about, they expire, right? So, I am, for example, I have been certified, Cisco certified network professional, a Cisco certified, some other stuff, and a bunch of other things that I have let expire because, you know, either you, after 2 or 3 years, you have to do over the exam to prove that you know what you say, you know what you say you know, and you're still current. So if you don't do over the exam, you legally are not allowed to use those certifications anymore. So I can only list my certifications that are current. So yeah, they reevaluate you from that perspective. Legally, after 3 years, usually your stuff would expire. Any other questions? Okay, good. I have questions for you. Here's what we're doing. I am now going to open a quiz. I have a quiz that every session there will be a quiz. Try and answer all the questions. Do your best. As I guess you could say it's open book. I don't really care if you use your notes, but the idea is that I just want to make sure that you actually came away with some understanding from what was said, right? That I didn't waste your time, I didn't waste my time. Nobody's time was wasted here. Everybody comes away with benefit. So let's test it out. Here's a quiz, and I'm gonna launch it right now. There you go. Answer those questions, please. There are 10 questions. I will keep quiet. You tell me how you've done. I just want to see what okay. You may begin. I'm gonna give you 7 minutes for that, yeah? So you have 7 minutes left. My system says that nobody has answered any questions so far. Oh.
The system's slow.
Yeah, I guess that's what's going on.
Mind us what proctored means again, please.
Proctored means that somebody is watching you to see if you are cheating.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hmm? Everything that says single choice is single choice. Does it say single choice? Oh, yeah. If it says multiple choice, you can make more than one choice. I did not tell you how many choices are correct. And this is how IT exams actually go. A lot of them look a lot like this. Just that there's some other types of questions as well. Oh, here, my answers are now starting to show in. Okay, looking at the time, you have 3 more minutes. I don't know if you need 7 minutes for this exam, though. It's really short. Anyhow, I'll give you 3 more minutes. Okay. I feel everybody must have already done. Well, let's give it the remaining time. 2 more minutes. All right, I think everybody's probably almost done. So we'll go with 1 more minute and then we will just end the poll. All right. 1 more minute and then we end. I'm very impatient. Ay, ay, ay. All right, I'm assuming everyone is pretty much. Yeah, my impatience is showing. It really is. It really is. See, that's why IT certifications work well for me, because this whole thing of having to wait on an exam and then study for a specific time. Oh man, this thing where I could just do an exam if I feel like, just wake up a morning and do an exam because I feel like doing it. That's great. Instant gratifications and finding out immediately that I have passed or failed is perfect for me. So, I mean, yeah. All right, your time is up. Okay, let me end the poll. And we have some people did not get all right. Some people got all right. I wonder if I could share the results with you. Yeah, I'm sharing the results of how it turned out, just so you can scroll through and see what others answered. I assume it told you when you got them all right and which ones you got wrong and so on. It didn't? It didn't tell you? Oh, well, that sucks.
I don't think it did, no.
Okay, all right, well, let me let me tell you. The first one, this course will teach you everything you need to know about IT. True or false? That is definitely false. I could do that in 6 years. Furthermore, 6 weeks. Number 2, in consumer IT, many customers pay you a little each. That's true. So that first one is the true one. Yeah. That's this single correct answer. Number 3, constant learning is essential for success in IT. Everybody got that right. It's true. The highest paying jobs in IT in the US make less than the Barbados Prime Minister. That is false. They actually make, when we went through the highest paying jobs in the list of the top 10 that I picked up, the Prime Minister and the Governor General were below the lowest paying one, right? So yeah, that's how IT rolls. When applying for an IT job, what usually matters? Years of experience, age, location, proven skills. Proven skills are the primary thing. Experience, yeah, you could have 25 years of experience, which really is 1 year of experience 25 times. Nobody wants that. show me what you've done and show me, prove to me that you've done it and can do it. And yeah, you got my attention. What are some of the ways that you can prove you have skills in IT? Certifications and successful projects. Years of experience say nothing. Number of past jobs say nothing. I told you guys I have 20 years of experience, but if I was doing the same thing for 20 years, I know people who entered IT before me and are still operating with technology that existed back when I started in IT. And they can't help anybody else other than that one company that they work for. So yeah, not useful. I'm not carrying on anybody's scruffy, but it's important to keep up to date with IT. So your years of experience, not necessarily proving anything. With IT certifications, you have to wait until the exams are scheduled, go to a testing center like CXC. That is false. Amen, that it is. Certifications are usually, they usually have a cost. Yes. They are proctored. Yes. Internationally recognized. Yes. So all of the above, yeah, that's the correct answer. Vendor neutral certifications cover specific vendors' products. No, that is false. Specific vendors, they are, that's vendor specific certifications. Vendor neutral are certifications around an area like security or networking or hardware or whatever. Micro credentials or badges usually have free courses and free exams. Yes. Are more costly than certifications? No. Are proctored, which means somebody is actually watching you to see if you're cheating? No. Are less reputable than certifications? Yes. So let me show all the correct answers. I think that came up. Yeah, oh yeah, that's cool. All right, yeah, I'm sorry, this is the first time I'm using this polling thing, so it's nice to see how it works. All right, and it is now 1 minute past 11. We are a minute over time. I hope everybody was able to gain something from this. We've kind of started on a nice 6-week journey. Next week, we're going to be talking about hardware, software, and to some extent, we're going to start networking. So hardware, software, and networking. We're going to cover those 3 topics, or at least the beginning, well, hardware and software at the beginning of networking next week. Hope to see you then. Have a wonderful week and God bless.
Yeah, I'm ready for next week.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
Will you be
Thank
emailing
you.
us regarding?
Thank you.
Will you be emailing us regarding the micro credential?
Yeah, well, we didn't really do anything this week that has a micro credential associated with it, but
Gotcha.
every single week as we cover a topic, I will send you the micro credentials associated with it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
That's why you need everybody's email. So please make sure you have it. All right. Have a great week.
How do I get the email to you? I came on a little bit late.
Say again.
How do I get the email to you? My email.
Yes. You can email me at Bajan Trainer. Let me put it on the screen. Let me stop this. Bajan Trainer at gmail.com. Here it is. Bajantrainer at gmail.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Cool. No problem. Ready?